artery. I was just talking to my wife earlier, and in efforts to sort of categorize these sort of pursuits, these quality pursuits, chasing quality, every time I conducted an assessment on an athlete, I would always think about this sort of foundational layer. It's the problem with like normative values is like they change, right? So it's like, well, what doesn't change? And so started like sort of looking for that, and I'm still looking for it, to be honest with you. I'm not entirely sure. I think this is where like ontology starts to rear its head. What exists, what doesn't exist. But these kind of discussions matter, and to help frame that, I'm going to share a story. Okay, here we go. So, wife and I, this is so funny actually. So we're driving across the U.S. Okay, I just got this fancy job. I left the Nets, like freaked out the entire family, like, what are you doing? I was like, nah, I got this under control, man. I'm going to be the director of sports science. So I got in a car with my wife. We got our, so this was like literally post-COVID, and you got to understand, guys, like, we forget, but that was a very intense time, especially if you were in New York. That was intense. Golly, like, I was like, I'm still sort of reeling from that, to be honest with you, but it made me realize a couple things, and it also, it helped me see the world completely different, literally. I mean, I spent my career in the Northeast, occasionally going down to the Southeast, like really never venturing below North Carolina much, and except for travel. And wife and I decided we're gonna go to Arizona. And so we packed up. Oh man, it's so funny. We got our 2 kids. Oh my God, our boy catches this rash, like literally 2 days. I think we had to like wait because of a storm. I'm like, what is going on, man? So get in this car and we drive across, and man, I honestly, that was one of the most beautiful rides for me. Like, you hear about the U.S., but like, the states are different, and they're beautiful, each in their own way. It's wild, like, it's a different vibe everywhere. And I was just getting a taste. I was like, wow, ooh, tasty, I like that. And there was imagery, and I'm an imagery guy. I'll stop the car, take a picture. I've done that occasionally. I am that guy. It's like, oh my God, he's gonna take a picture. Yes, me. And so stepped out several times to take pictures, and like, you just don't know until you're there. Like, that feeling is, it's like, I just remember, I'll tell you, the most memorable, the most intense moment. So my wife had drove in. You know her. She's got to get there like instantly. She's like 6 hours ahead of me. You know, I'm over here just chilling out, and I remember she was telling me she was driving over New Mexico, and I was like, all right. I'm like, I think I was just about to make it out of West Texas, and you know, I was getting a little like worried because it started getting a little dark, and I was like, I don't want to be driving at night. Like, my wife is 6 hours ahead of me. Like, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make this time right now. As I'm driving, I come over this, like, for me it appeared like a little bit of a hill. It was like I was a little hill, and then as I reached the apex of this hill, you know, it may have been a mountain, to be honest with you, you know, but as I reached the top, there was this marvelous array of colors, hues. It was more actually different than exquisite. I mean, these are the kind of memories that I try to like remember often because they're so beautiful to me. And that essentially marked that chapter of my life. Like, honestly, Arizona was life-changing. I mean, I broke several times there. And I've come to realize, like, those breaking points were excellent, like, marvelous, you know, for me, helping, I think, others, but also seeing the world in its multifaceted way. The thing, you know, and I don't want to this was not the point of this post, but I want to comment on like what was so marvelous, because it's going to be different. And for me, this is just a timestamp. So at this point in my career, as I look back, I just remember the sky. I remember the mountains. I just remember the sky being like, it was intense. I remember, like, for whatever reason in Arizona, I felt like that the mile above sea level was a big difference maker. Like, when the moon would appear, I felt like, I was like, yo, when did the moon get down this low? Wow, this is kind of, is anybody seeing this? This moon is kind of low on us right here. When did this happen? It's just different. And I mean, oh man, I just remember it's gorgeous. Like, and it's a different vibe there. The desert is different, and it's one of those now that I have so much more respect for. Like, I honestly, I'm on a pursuit to, like, kind of note a bit more about what occurs when I step into those environments, and I think that might help shape, this idea that there's far more things in this environment than we could have ever imagined. And they are unique to every environment. It's very strange, but yeah, they influence us.